Ukraine's security chief says he is hoping to arrange for President Volodymyr Zelensky to visit the U.S. at the earliest suitable date this month as diplomatic attempts to end the war continue. A U.S. official has told the BBC that Ukraine has agreed to a peace deal, adding there are still some minor details to be sorted out. Kyiv has not commented, and the White House has not confirmed the prospect of any Trump-Zelensky talks. Meanwhile, the U.S. has confirmed its officials are set to meet Russian representatives in Abu Dhabi. But the fighting has continued, with Russia and Ukraine trading overnight air attacks.
Officials in Kyiv said at least 6 people had been killed in Russian strikes in the city, while Russian officials said at least 3 had been killed in a Ukrainian strike in the Rostov region. Ukraine's national security chief, Rustem Umerov, said his team looked forward to organizing Zelensky's U.S. visit at the earliest suitable date in November to complete final steps and make a deal with the U.S. President Donald Trump. In a social media post on Tuesday, he wrote that U.S. and Ukrainian delegations have reached a common understanding on the core terms of the peace plan, referring to their meeting in Geneva on Sunday. Leaders in Kyiv and Europe had criticized the initial draft, which they said was too favorable to Russia. Counterproposals, reportedly drafted by the UK, France, and Germany, excluded any recognition of Russian-held regions, raised Ukraine's permitted army size, and left the door open to Ukraine joining NATO. Zelensky welcomed the proposed changes to the controversial 28-point U.S. peace plan. He said, quote, "Now the list of necessary steps to end the war can become doable. Many correct elements have been incorporated into this framework," end quote. A Kremlin official rejected the amendments as completely unconstructive. However, a U.S. official on Tuesday told the BBC that its team would be meeting Russian representatives in Abu Dhabi to further discuss the plan. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who is not attending the meeting, said the Kremlin has yet to receive the interim version of the revised plan, adding that Moscow's view was that it should reflect the spirit and letter of the Alaska talks between Trump and President Vladimir Putin in August. Separately, a virtual coalition of the willing meeting of Ukraine's European allies will also be taking place on Tuesday to discuss developments, UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said. The latest round of talks come as Russia and Ukraine exchanged overnight air attacks. Kyiv's military administration chief, Timur Tkachenko, said a fire had broken out at a high-rise residential apartment building in the Dniprovsky district, forcing the evacuation of its residents. Emergency services on the scene said 18 people had been rescued, including 3 children, and the search for victims was ongoing after the fire had been contained. Residents of a high-rise apartment in the city's central Pachaysk district were also evacuated after it was set ablaze during the strikes, according to Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko. He added that the building suffered damage to the upper floors, but the fire had been extinguished. Ukraine's air defense units responded to the attack as explosions were heard across Kyiv and residents were urged to take shelter in underground car parks and bunkers. Ukraine's Ministry of Energy also confirmed a massive and combined enemy attack on the country's energy infrastructure facilities. According to Zelensky, 22 missiles and more than 460 drones were launched at Ukraine overnight. NATO scrambled 4 planes over Romania, the 3rd time in 4 days its planes have been sent to intercept drones in Ukraine's border region. 6 Russian drones were also detected in Moldova. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry said it had intercepted 249 Ukrainian drones overnight, including over the Black Sea and Kursk. In Russia's Rostov region, the death toll from a Ukrainian strike had risen to 3 after initial reports of 1 death, officials said. According to Russia's acting governor of the Rostov region, Yuri Slusar, 2 died in the hospital. One of the deaths was reported in the city of Taganrog, where Mayor Svetlana Kambulova vowed necessary response measures. Another 10 people were injured in the strikes. In the southern Krasnodar region, Governor Veniamin Kondratev described Ukraine's overnight bombardment as, quote, one of the Kyiv regime's most sustained and massive attacks, end quote.